Hey, so just gonna go over the top five supplements to boost your performance. And one of the things to bear in mind is that this applies this when I talk about boosting performance, I'm not just talking about in the gym. I'm also talking about at work, in the office, and everything in between that, because the reality is that the fitter you become as a human being, the better you can deliver in your job. Where, many of us in the world that we're in right now, we're sat in our in front of our laptops, we're doing office-based work, we're not moving as much as we should be, um, and getting fitter, improving your health, and optimizing your performance is going to translate to what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I won't be too long here, and feel free to hop in if you have any questions or anything like that. And by the way, just make sure, if you want the slide deck and also a free a free supplement guide, I will be sending that after this call. So yeah, feel free to hop on for that as well. So let me make this big screen and then go from there. So top five supplements. So let's go through it. Just some of the things I'm going to go through, and these are the ones that we're going to talk about. And also, I'm going to talk about some of the supplements that you actually don't need, because there's so many supplements out there in the market right now that are just confusing people and then putting people in a position where they don't quite need it. So let's go through that. So firstly, we probably all know about protein, right? Drop a comment if you've taken protein before. Just drop a comment in the little Zoom chat. Cool. So quite a few of you have taken protein before. So as we know, it's easily the number one supplement in the market right now, whether it's whey protein, whether it's vegan protein. And I'm going to talk about the differences in the two in a second, but obviously we know that it's great for muscle growth. It's great for recovery. It aids in your fat loss because as we have more protein, it increases the thermic effect. And if you don't know what the thermic effect is, that is basically your body burning calories to process and digest food. And for your body, it has about a 20 to 30% thermic effect when you have protein versus carbs and fat. Carbs is like 10%, and then fat is like 1 to 3%, right? So that means if you have 100 calories worth of protein, 20 to 30% of those calories actually get burnt up digesting the protein, which puts you in a calorie deficit a lot quicker if you have a high protein diet. We know that protein can actually help with managing stress. It can help you sleep more. It can obviously increase your strength and power. And I put thermic effect twice, which is a mistake from me. Um, there's loads of different types of proteins out there. Obviously, you got whey, you got vegan, you got casein, you got whey isolate. There's so many different things you can do. The reality is, if you get a good standard whey protein, that's absolutely perfect. If you're lactose and you don't drink milk, because whey protein does come from milk, then you want to go for a vegan protein. Something like a rice protein or a pea protein is absolutely fine. Now, before I even talk about the differences in those two, one thing to bear in mind is, like, why do you need protein? Well, majority of us do not get enough protein in our diets. So we're not getting enough protein anyway. So it's going to be majorly beneficial for us. The next thing is that you want to build strength, you want to build muscle. And then when you build more muscle, your metabolism is going to increase. You're going to be able to burn more calories throughout the day. And then guess how that benefits you? You're going to burn more fat. And then again, how does that benefit you? You're going to actually feel more energetic. You're going to be able to perform better on a day-to-day basis. You're not going to be as tired at work, so on and so forth. Everything has a trickle effect. That's one thing you have to bear in mind. So when it comes to vegan versus whey protein, the vegan protein has lower levels of leucine, and leucine is what actually promotes that protein synthesis. Vegan protein lacks the essential amino acids compared to whey protein, because whey protein, as with most animal proteins, has all the essential amino acids. I won't get into what amino acids are and all that stuff, but you need to know that if you're having protein, you need to have all your essential amino acids covered, or else it's an incomplete protein. So vegan protein at the moment is an incomplete protein. So if you want to get the best out of it, you should supplement it with some BCAAs. If you're lactose and you take vegan protein, supplement it with BCAAs. If you're taking normal whey protein, you do not need BCAAs. So just remember that, because BCAAs is pretty much a waste of money, if we're being honest. So that's that. The next thing is, your body produces vitamin D naturally. So vitamin D is one of the best supplements out there. And especially in countries like the UK and certain parts of the States where we're not getting enough sunlight, and parts of Europe, we need to get that vitamin D, man, because we're not getting enough sunlight as it is. And especially if you are of a darker complexion like myself, where our skin doesn't absorb vitamin D as well, you need to get a supplement. Stronger immune system, fights against heart disease. It's even been shown to help reduce the effects of flu, and in some recent studies, COVID. And we know how devastating COVID has been for many of us. If we're talking about gym performance and also battling off that depression, and one of the reasons it battles off that depression is also because if you know about seasonal depression, where people get a bit more depressed because there's not enough sunlight, it's been shown that vitamin D actually helps against that. Now, in the winter, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes working can feel a bit longer, a bit harder. At the moment, I would say, one of the major things that you can do with that is take vitamin D. It's going to help you. Trust me, it's going to help you. And like I was saying, right, a lot of us, people who have more melanin in the skin, a lot of the darker human beings, it's harder for us to absorb vitamin D. So it gets worse when placed in areas with minimal sunlight, like many of us that are in the UK, for example. About 2/3 of African Americans are actually vitamin D deficient. Now, I couldn't find a study in the UK, but I would assume that we're probably around the same, probably somewhere similar, right? So how much vitamin D should you take? Drop a comment in the chat if you're taking vitamin D at the moment. But around 5,000 IU of vitamin D is about good enough, and that's the best absorbed vitamins, because you can get a lot of vitamin D supplements, but they're not all bioavailable. Some of them just don't, your body doesn't actually absorb them, so that's a problem. So let's get on to the next one. Now, creatine, this is a big one, and I think that a lot of people, they'll see some major benefits from taking creatine, if I'm being honest with you. And it's probably the best supplement on the market for people trying to increase their performance in the gym. When it comes to producing more power, producing more energy, increasing your strength, losing body fat, helping your brain, recovering from injury, more power in your muscles, like creatine is hands down the most researched and backed performance enhancing supplement in the market. Like you can't argue against creatine. So if you're really focusing on improving your performance on a day-to-day basis, creatine is something you should be taking. You want to just get a simple creatine monohydrate, take about 5 grams per day. After 30 days, you can drop it to 3 grams, or you can continue with 5 grams. Me personally, I do about 5 grams a day. Now, you can do a loading phase where you take like 15 grams for like a couple of days to just load up your muscles and saturate them, and then go back down to 5. But you might start to get cramps because you need to drink a lot of water when you start taking creatine, because basically it fills up your muscles with water, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a steroid. It won't turn you bald, and it will not make you fat. The next one is magnesium. 61% of Americans are magnesium deficient. So you need to bear that in mind. A lot of this is higher amongst athletes. And a reason that happens is obviously sweat, especially in hotter parts of the world. If you're sweating a lot, you're losing a lot of magnesium, which is a mineral. And magnesium plays a role in pretty much every kind of human reaction, biochemical reaction in the body. One of the major benefits. So when it comes to energy is produced by something called ATP in the body. Magnesium helps with that. So if you're not getting magnesium, if you don't have enough magnesium, that's why sometimes we get cramps, we get muscle cramps, especially when we're playing sports for long periods of time. Your brain function and mood can decrease. Your type 2, it helps against type 2 diabetes, migraines. It helps against PMS systems for the ladies as well. So anything from 400 to 500 milligrams per day. Oh, pardon me. And 310 to 320 for women is ideal. And you want to take magnesium citrate. That is the one that is more absorbable by the body. So just remember that. In terms of the next one, fish oils, omega-3 specifically, probably again one of the most studied supplements out there. The benefits are even more than what I've put here, but we know that it helps with joints, inflammation. It helps actually with muscle growth. And one of the major things with omega-3 is it helps your heart and your brain. Now, if we're talking about heart health, especially if you are currently overweight or you're struggling with your weight, heart health is critical. So I would say that one of the major things we need to really put in place is managing that heart health and having, as we know, heart disease is one of the biggest killers in our society. I think it is number one, actually. So if we can minimize heart disease, then we're obviously going to put ourselves in a better place. So about 3 grams is perfect, with 2 grams coming from the EPA and then 1 gram literally coming from coming from the DHA. Remember, we don't need any more than that, because if it's too much, it just goes to waste and our body just excretes it. So it doesn't need to have too much. Now, there are some supplements in the supplement industry that are a complete waste of money. And if you've got any questions, just drop them in the chat. And if you disagree with any of these, drop them in the chat, because we can have a quick debate on them as well. First one is BCAAs. You do not need BCAAs unless you're a vegan. If you are taking enough protein, whether it's through food or whey protein, it already has BCAAs in it. BCAAs are branch chain amino acids. What did I say about normal protein? It has, like, whey protein has your essential amino acids. So BCAAs are not really needed unless you are not getting enough protein and you're vegan, because you ain't got the essential amino acids. Any type of fat burning pills, fat burners, please do not buy those. They are a waste of money. They're not going to help you. They're not going to improve your performance in the gym or out the gym, which is obviously what we're looking at here. The next thing is glutamine. Unfortunately, there's not enough evidence to support glutamine actually having an effect on your joints. And a lot of these supplements, they're not actually absorbed by the body. So glutamine, although it sounds theoretically, great, or it's going to help my joints, it doesn't actually do much. Pre-workout. Now, a lot of people disagree with me when I say pre-workout, but contrary to popular belief, pre-workout has one main ingredient. It's caffeine. You can have a coffee that's going to have caffeine in it. So pre-workout isn't really all that. Now, there is other things in it. Most pre-workouts have creatine in it. Most pre-workouts have beta-alanine in it. So the beta-alanine is what gives you the tingles. But again, there are studies to refute the effects of beta-alanine in the long term. So do you really need pre-workout? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. I would argue that probably not, probably not. If you had a coffee right before you worked out, you would have the same effects. Flat tummy teas, that used to be a very popular thing amongst the ladies. Again, if you've used flat tummy teas, just drop it in the comments, in the chat, sorry. And then lastly, Herbalife. If you haven't tried to be sold to you by a Herbalife representative, you probably haven't been on social media very long, because they are everywhere. But you don't need Herbalife, just so you know. So supplements are a billion-pound industry. There are many more I could name, but we just want to focus on what's actually effective. Like, these are effective. And if there's maybe one honorable shout I didn't mention, was like zinc. So alongside magnesium, zinc is also a very, very important mineral for us to take. And iron as well. So, I mean, I could have thrown those in there too, but we're looking at what's most important. And these are definitely the ones that are most important to help us improve our fitness and our training and get in amazing shape. So yeah, that's it, guys. And those are the things that are going to be most important. Pick 2 or 3. You don't have to go for all of these. Start simple, pick 2 or 3, add them to your diet and your nutrition. And then maybe over time, we go 4s and 5s, and you start taking all of them. And this will essentially boost your performance, but it's not essential, because if you're not getting 8 hours of sleep, if you're not eating a whole food diet, if you're not, if your activity levels are too low, you're not even getting 7,000 steps a day, then none of this matters. Just remember that, okay? These are supplements. They're there to supplement a good diet already. And then when you do that, you take your performance in the gym and you take your performance in life to the next level. And when I say that, I'm talking about, how you wake up and feel when you're sitting in the office, how you operate on calls, your stress levels when you're with your family. All these things are improved when you're looking after yourself and putting yourself first to a degree. So just bear that in mind. And also anybody, if you want to talk about this more specifically to where you're at right now and where you'd like to get to on a one-to-one level, I've just dropped a comment in the chat with the link to book your own one-to-one discovery call. So we'll literally jump on a quick call. It's about 30 minutes. We're actually going to look at a more specific plan to you. So if you fill out that form and book in a call with me, we can actually talk to you on a one-to-one level and show you what you need to do. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that in the comments, and we'll just I got some time for some Q&As and any questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat or unmute yourself. Give you guys a few minutes, get a bit brave. Okay. Someone just asked me, do I actually need to take protein if I'm already eating enough? Good question. No, you do not need to take protein if you're getting enough protein through your nutrition, like your hard food diet. So if you're already eating lots of meat, lots of eggs, lots of chicken, lots of beef, blah blah blah, and you're getting your 200 grams, your 150 grams of protein, then no, you probably don't need to be taking any protein shakes. But you can take it as a top up to what you're already doing, especially if you're not hitting your required protein numbers. Okay, that was the only question. All right, well, guys, hit that link. Let's jump on a one-to-one call, because then I can give you some more specific advice if that's what you're looking for, and then we'll kind of go from there, man. So thank you guys for jumping on. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day, team.